This is my presentation, my case study. Okay, so my subject was Vegas, and she is a 2000 thoroughbred mare. She weighed in at 1,018 pounds, or about 462 kilograms. She measured at 15.3 hands, a body condition score of a 5, crusty neck score of a 1, girth to height ratio of 1.09, and she is coming of 13 years of age. This is a typical work week for Vegas. She is my personal horse. I would say her conditioning level is moderate. I tend to give her Mondays off. Tuesdays, we have about a 20 to 30 minute flat work. Wednesdays, we do a little higher intensity training, possibly some light jumping in there. Thursdays, again, with the flat work. Friday, about 30 to 45 minutes, definitely higher intensity conditioning ride, a jumping lesson. Friday afternoon. And then weekends are a little more flexible with some flat work on Saturday and about a half-hour hack out or trail ride on Sunday to let her kind of stretch and relax. As far as nutritional concerns for Vegas, I would say her metabolism type is somewhere between a hard keeper and average. She is your typical thoroughbred, so she does lose weight pretty quickly, but I will say that she also gains pretty easily as well. I just have to keep track, in the summer when she's sweating a lot, and also, oddly enough, in the winter, in the extreme, as hot as it gets here and as cold as it gets, she will start to fluctuate a little, so I just got to keep an eye on that. As far as current issues, she has been previously diagnosed with gastric ulcers. She's also suffered some mild inflammatory problems in the tendons and ligaments of her front legs. And she is a very selective eater. So this is important to consider when looking at buying supplements and sometimes grain. She won't eat anything that's powdered or flavored, and if I give her certain like sweet feeds and stuff, she will sort, so a pelleted form is really best for her. So as far as the turnout schedule, she is on 24-hour dry lot turnout, and you can see that in the picture here. This is the lot she is out on. And in the back right corner, you can see a little bit of green there. It's actually just weeds, so the horses don't eat that. And then there's just grass surrounding the pasture that they can't get to. So it is a dry lot, and then what you see here, the mound in the center, is one of her hay options I'm going to mention here in a bit, and that is a round bale oat hay that she has access to. Okay, so for her first hay, that's the round bale. It is an oat hay, and she has free choice for 8 hours a day to this hay. She's on this dry lot with 3 other mature horses at maintenance. I would say the round bale is approximately 1,000 pounds, and I'd guesstimate somewhere between 10 and 15% is lost in waste. Just ground cover with urinate and defecate on it, and trampling. Definitely a lot of waste in a round bale. So that'd leave about 850 pounds. It lasts about a week and a half to 2 weeks, just depending on the weather conditions. So that's her first hay offering. Her second hay, she does get a square bale fescue mix, and she gets 4 flakes of that once daily. It's about 2.25 pounds per flake, and that's a total of 9 pounds per day of fescue mix hay. So her current grain ration, it's a tribute feed. It's the Calm Ultra. This is a pelleted feed. She's on 2 feedings per day. She gets 1.5 pounds per feeding, and that's about 3/4 of a scoop, for a total of 3 pounds of grain per day and a scoop and a half. I will mention that this feed is a high-fat feed, and it's also enriched with direct-fed microbials for increased digestibility and gut health. So it's a little more enriched than your typical concentrate. She's also on a few supplements currently. She's on a combo supplement right now that's for hoof and joint health, as well as coat and a source of omega 3s and some microbes for increased digestibility. Also, Smart Gut, that is for her gastric ulcers, and then she is on a daily electrolyte. So this is her current ration and how it meets her requirements. I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. Okay, so as you can see here, she's really meeting all of her requirements, almost at calcium, but the number she's actually just below her calcium requirement there. So that was one thing I really wanted to pay attention to. As far as her vitamins, assuming that there are vitamins in the hay that's not accounted for, I would assume she's also meeting her vitamin requirements. And other than that, she is pretty much meeting her requirements as determined by the NRC from her hay and grain. Did also want to mention that the supplements don't really add anything to her diet that she's lacking, but mostly they're there anyway for specific things that I needed in addition to a typical ration. So for the first option, I decided to just kind of tweak her current grain so that she could meet that calcium. And basically, all I did was increase her ration daily from a scoop and a half to a scoop and 3/4. So she went from about 1.36 kilograms per day to 1.59 kilograms per day. And as you can see here, nothing went up too drastically from before. I'll toggle back so you can see previous and then here. So her D really didn't go up that much, not anything too big of a deal to make any significant changes. She's not going to like get obese just from that extra quarter, especially as much as I am working her. She'll be able to keep that in check, but the calcium is at a better level, so I think this is a better diet for her to meet that calcium need, and that also brings up her calcium phosphorus ratio somewhere better in between the 1-to-1 and 2-to-1. It was a little low before. Okay, and for the second option, I just chose to look at the other feed we offer in our farm. It's the Tribute Calm and Easy, and this is a low starch feed, so it is a good option for her seeing as she has gastric ulcers. And again, I'd feed a scoop and 3/4 per day for 1.5 kilograms. And it's really pretty similar to the Calm Ultra. The only difference you're seeing here, it does have a slightly higher percent crude protein. So that's just something to notice. Everything else is pretty similar. So there's the Calm Ultra, and that's the Calm and Easy. Again, she is meeting all of her requirements. So just assume she's meeting her vitamins through the hay. That's not accounted for in these graphs. And other than that, it's about the same. Okay, finally for my third option for my raw ingredients, I offered her a scoop and a half of raw oats and a scoop of wet beet pulp. I did struggle with this a little bit. She's still lacking in her calcium here, and the ingredients I was working with, if I continued to increase, she was really over in her DE, which I know would cause her to gain weight over time. So my own recommendation to myself, beyond the oats and beet pulp, I might consider throwing her a few carrots. There's some calcium definitely in there, and then also just in general, increasing the quality of the hay that I'm providing, and I think she'd really benefit from that, and then all of that together might better meet that calcium requirement without increasing her digestible energy. So just to wrap it up, just consider increasing her current ration from a scoop and a half to a scoop and 3/4, and that will better meet her calcium requirements and also satisfy that calcium to phosphorus ratio. So I didn't really have to make any drastic changes there. Also, I might consider eliminating some of the supplements if they seem unnecessary, and there is a bit of overlap in my current supplement combination. Um, Also, my current grain does offer direct fed microbials, as mentioned before. So if I do decide to switch to a different grain, I'll just need to keep that in mind. Um, but as far as I could see, switching grains would really only benefit me in the case of cost efficiency here. And just a side note, always provide fresh, clean water for your horses. And that's it. Thanks.